Hello everyone and welcome back to the Car Take. My name is Sam and today we're going to be going over some of the coolest cars at the 2024 Mecum Kissimmee auction. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so starting us off is this GT40 Mark I. It is one of the original GT40s that Ford made. It's one of only 30, and it's been professionally restored by Roof. This thing is absolutely crazy. You do not see these come up for auction very often, especially since there were only 30 of them made. Whoever gets this is going to pay a lot of money, but I think they're going to be very happy with it. All right, next up, we've got this 1956 Gullwing Mercedes. These things are iconic. They're super cool looking. Obviously, everyone knows a Gullwing Mercedes. They've been in every car video game since forever. There's one in GTA 5, I forget what it's called, but you just can't go wrong with a Gullwing Mercedes. Okay, so the next car we're going to be talking about is this 1959 Porsche 718 center seat. I had never heard of this thing before, and it looks as crazy as you can get. Apparently only 34 of these were ever made, and only 6 of them had the center seat, so this is a pretty unique car. Now, this one actually was auctioned and didn't go through, so the bid goes on for this one, and it will be sold on a bill of sale, so if you're really concerned about getting a title for your 59 Porsche 718 center seat, maybe you might want to be cautious on this one. But this thing is crazy, and I have no idea what it is, but I thought it was cool, and I wanted to include it, so here it is. Okay, so moving on, we're not going to spend a ton of time on this one, but it's a 2021 Ferrari SF90 Stradale. Very special car, very fast supercar, looks awesome, sounds awesome. From what I've heard, it drives awesome. Just all around a great car. Moving on, we've got one of my favorite classic cars ever, and it's one that almost no one has heard about. This is a Tucker 48. There were 50 of these things, 51 actually of them ever made. And this is one of 4 produced in black. This thing was the most futuristic vehicle when it came out. All of them were made in 1948, and then the Tucker Motor Corporation went bankrupt, so no one's heard of these things. They're super cool. They were actually the first car to have moving headlights. So you see that third center headlight, that actually turns with the steering wheel. That's not a feature we had until like the 2000s again. When you turn the steering wheel, the light tracks with it. So these things were really, they were marketed as the car of tomorrow, and they really were. And if you want to look into some cool automotive history, look up the Tucker Motor Corporation. I might do a video on it at one point. It's a super cool car, and I have a feeling it's going to go for a lot of money. Okay, so this one is a lesser-known supercar, but it is the Jaguar XJ220. It was their flagship sort of halo model in the 90s, and what's really cool about these cars to me is that they came with a 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6 that made 542 horsepower. Now that's significant because almost 25 years later, Ford came out with their new model GT that also has a 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6 that makes 660 horsepower. So in 25 years, over 2 decades, 100 horsepower. That shows just how far ahead of the game this car was. And not many of them were made. It didn't sell very well, but they are super cool and they're highly sought after now. And it's looking to go for about $750,000. It's a crazy amount of money, but it is a crazy car. Alright, the next car we're going to be talking about is the iconic Lexus LFA. This is a 2012 model in red. It's pretty rare to get in this color. I think it said only 38 of them were made, but this was the supercar of our childhoods. This is widely considered to be one of, if not the best sounding car on the planet. It's a naturally aspirated, screaming V10, and Lexus has used LFA design language in their current models. You see it in the RCF and the LC500. Truly an iconic car, one that I think is going to go for a lot of money. It's super cool, and I'm glad to see it at this auction. Now, in talking about iconic supercars from our childhoods, I would be remiss not to mention the Ferrari F40 and the Ferrari Enzo that are both for sale at this auction. These are absolutely beautiful and iconic supercars, beautiful and iconic Ferraris, and I have a feeling that they're going to get picked up by a Ferrari collector, as these sorts of cars do when they come up for sale. Okay, so this next one is probably the coolest car at this auction, in my opinion. It is an original Shelby Cobra, and not just that, it is a 427 competition. These are crazy rare. Real Cobras are insanely hard to find. You'll see Cobra kit cars at your local Cars and Coffee. They're relatively easy to build. There's a lot of support for them. They've gotten affordable to do so, but this one has an insane pedigree. It is an original factory car. It says it's campaigned throughout Europe in 1966, raced by 3 Formula One drivers, shown at Pebble Beach. This is a legit car. This is a crazy piece of American automotive history and just automotive history in general, and I'm super excited to see it here. Alright everybody, so as I'm recording this video, I'm noticing that the takes I'm giving are a little bit longer than I initially thought they were. I had this huge list of cars that I wanted to talk about, but there's just so many, and I don't want to sacrifice quality for quantity. So this last one I want to talk about is the 1960 Chrysler 300F. Now, back in the day, Chrysler 300s were letter cars, and that meant that every year they got a new letter, and for 1960 the letter was F. They had another one later on that I was going to talk about. They had the 300L, but let's focus on the F right now. The thing that really stands out about this car for me is just how similar it looks to the 2011 through 2014 era Dodge Chargers. I mean, if you compare the front ends, it's uncanny. The angry headlights, the cross in the grille, the trapezoid shape to the grille. It goes to show that Dodge really sticks to their roots. And on top of that, the 2011 to 2014 Chargers that came with the 5.7 liter, 345 cubic inch Hemi V8 had 375 horsepower. This vehicle has 375 horsepower too. It's the same number, and that's crazy to me. 60 years ago, and it's the same as a modern 5.7 Hemi V8. Obviously, this one's significantly bigger. It's a 413 cubic inch engine, but it just goes to show that Mopar sticks to their roots, and it's part of the reason that I consider myself a Mopar guy over maybe a Chevy or Ford guy. Still love both those companies, love all American cars, love all cars in general. Alright everyone, so that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you go over to the Mecum website, look at some cool cars, tell me which one's your favorite and which ones I should have talked about in this episode, and if you'd be interested in seeing a part 2 to this. Also make sure to check out thecartake.com. I have a new take going up every Wednesday at 6 a.m. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks again, and I will see you in the next one.